All right, Math 7A. It's time for solving the study guide. Thank you everyone who's joined the Google Classroom. Thanks for everyone who's watching these videos and trying to keep some sense of normalcy. After you go over this, you'll see there will be a test posted for this, and of course it's open video, open notes, open study guide, and it's all for just extra credit. So here we go. Let's start with the study guide and see what we do. All right, we've got a full circle here. I've got a diameter of 12 centimeters. I'm looking for the circumference. I know that circumference is pi times the diameter. So that's going to be 12 times 3.14. And I got 12 times 3.14. I get 37.68, and that's going to be centimeters. Now the area is pi. Pi's are a square, right? It'd be so much easier to find the area of a circle if pi's are square. So it's going to be 3.14 times the radius, which is half of 12, which is going to be 6 squared. So that's 3.14 times 36. And that gives me 113.04 centimeters, and that is squared. Okay. Moving along to number 2, we're finding the perimeter and the area of the semicircle. Of course, the perimeter is going to be half of the circumference with the diameter added to it. And the area, of course, is just a half of pi r squared. So the circumference is going to be the whole diameter, 18 times pi, but it's going to be halved, so it's really 9 times pi. So 9 times 3.14. And that is, I think it's like 2812. Let me remember what that is. 2826. So it's 28.26. And then I'm adding in the distance across the diameter. Well, the radius is 9, so the whole diameter is 18. Add those up, and we get 46.26 inches. Now the area is 1/2 of pi times the radius, which is 9 squared. Okay, so I'm going to do 9 squared is 81 times 3.14, and then I'm going to just multiply it by 0.5 as well to make it the half. And I get 127.17 inches squared. Okay. Done with the flat surface two-dimensional geometry. Let's move on to surface area in 3D shapes. Of course, we're still dealing with two-dimensional area space. If you remember, there's a trick that I have for this where it's the triangle. So it's going to be the 12 times 15, which is 120 plus 60, so that's 180. Then 15 times 5, which is 75, and then 5 times 12, which is another 60. If I add that all up, I get 5, 15, 21, 315 for the 3 sides I can see. So that is the top, the front, and the right. Now if I multiply this all by 2, I'm going to get the 3 sides that are hidden, the bottom, the left, and the back. So 315 doubled is going to be 630 meters squared. All right, moving right along. Number 4, we have a triangular prism. It is the wedge, as I like to call it. If you remember that when we do the base times the height, it gives us both triangles, the one you can't see here, and the one in front, because it's 2 triangles, and they're each a half base times height. So the 2 times a half cancels out to 1. So for my 2 triangles, it's just 6 times 8, which is 48. Now for my 3 rectangles, it is the perimeter of this triangle, 6, 8, and 10, times the length of 9. So I could do it all individually. I could do 6 times 9, which is going to be the back. I could do 8 times 9, which is going to be the bottom. And I could do 10 times 9, which is going to be the slant, right? Or I could have added them all up and done 24 times 9 and got all three of these at the same time. So 6 times 9 is 54. 8. What is this? 8 times. That looks like 8 times 8. I'd say that's 8 times 9, which is 72, and 10 times 9 is 90. We add all of those up, we're going to get, there's 14, carry the 1, there's 10, 17, 26, so 264 feet squared. I apologize that if you actually printed out this paper, there's not much room to work on number 5, but I'm sure you guys were okay. We had the 2 triangles, which is going to be 12 times 8. And then again, that's 96. If I take the perimeter, I'm going to do it that way this time. I'm going to add them all up. 10 plus 10 is 20. Plus 12 is 32. And if I multiply that by the 15, which is the length, I'm going to get the right slant, the left slant, and the rectangle on the bottom. So this is the 3 rectangles. So I've got 32 times 15, which the way I think of it is 320 plus half of that, so 160. So that's 480 for the rectangles. That goes 6, that's 17, 576 millimeters square. Isn't that great? All right, and we keep moving right along, and we're looking at the pyramid. I have 4 identical triangles, so there's 4 times 1/2, so that's really 2, times the base, which is 14, times the height of 12. So I don't really know that off the top of my head. I know 14 times 12 is 168, and you could double that, and you get 346, 36? But let's just do it. So we're going to have 2, because 4 times 1/2, times 14 times 12 is 336. And then the bottom is just 14 times 14, because it's a square, and that's 196. Add those up, and you get 12, 13, add a 1, there's 532 feet squared. All right, there's page 1. Let's keep going. Let's hope this isn't too long so my video doesn't run out of storage space. All right, here we go. This is the triangular prism. We have 3 identical ones on the top and 1 on the bottom. So for the bottom, it's 1/2 the base, which is 10, because this is an equilateral base, times the height of 12. So that's 10 times 12 is 120, half it for 60. Then there's 3 identical triangles, which are a base of 10 again, but this time a height of 15. If I cut the 10 in half, I get 5. 5 times 15 is 75. 3 times 75 is 225. So 285 yards squared. The formula right here for a cylinder is, if you remember, 2 pi's r square and 2 pi's r hot. The pi's r square is the top and bottom circle, and the 2 pi's r hot is the circumference of the circle times the height to get the rectangular wraparound. So I've got 2 pi's, the radius of this, well, that's the diameter of 8, so the radius is 4, so it's 4 squared, plus 2 times pi times the radius, which I said was 4, times the height of 7. 4 squared is 16. 16 times 2 is 32, so I have 32 pi's on the 2 circles. I've got 2 times 4 is 8, 8 times 7 is 56 times pi, and that is the rectangular wraparound. Add these 2 up, and I'm going to get 88 times pi. So that's going to be, I don't know, 240 plus, so it's going to be around 270 or something. It's a good way to estimate, so in case you do something wrong, hey, 276.32, and that is inches squared, because we're still doing surface area. All right, number 9, this is when it gets fun, it's volume. We're just going to do base times height times length. So base is 8, the height is 18, and the length is 20. 8 times 18 is going to be 80 plus 64. That's 144 right there. 144 times 20 is 288 with a 0, so 2,880 inches cubed. That is the volume of there. Here is a triangular prism, so it's 1/2 the base times the height times the length. So I'm going to half that 20 to make it 10. That makes 300. 300 times 25 is going to be 75 with 2 zeros. So 7,500 feet cubed. All right, coming down to still another triangular prism. This is a chunk of the Toblerone, or a very small tent. Again, it's 1/2. The base of 45, the height of 50, and the length of 30. And I'll be honest with you, this is starting to get out of my head zone. So I'm going to half the 50 and make it 25. So this is 45 times 25 times 30, which gets me, yep, that's too big for my head, 33,750 meters cubed. All right, pyramid. Remember, it's a half for a triangular prism. A pyramid is a third of a prism. It's got a base of 18 by 18, so that's times 18 times 18, and a height of 21. 18 squared. Oh, it's like 324, I think. 18 times 18 is 324, and that's going to be times 7, because I'm dividing the 21 by 3. And I get 2,268 meters cubed. All right, there is all of the second page. Moving right along to page 3, we have the volume of a triangular base pyramid. Now, a square base pyramid is a third, and so a triangular base pyramid is a half of that third. So it's 1/6 the base of 12 by 18 times the height of 20. A sixth of 12 is 2. 2 times 18 is 36. 36 times 20 is going to be 720 inches cubed. Volume of the cylinder. The pies are square homes. Pies are square homes for fruit. So this is going to be pi times the radius of 6 squared times the height of 30. So 36 times 30 is a big number. It's like 108. Let's see, 36 times 30 is 108 with a 0. We're going to multiply that by 3.14, and we get 3,391.2 meters cubed. And now we've got the cone. If you remember, a cone has the exact same relationship to a cylinder as a pyramid does to a rectangular prism. So again, it's 1/3 the area of, the volume of a cylinder. So pi, radius squared, radius is 8, times the height of 24. 8 times 8 is 64. A third of 24 is 8, and 64 times 8 is like a bigger number. So we got 64 times 8 times pi, which is 3.14. I get 1,607.68 feet cubed. All right, almost getting there. A sphere is 4/3 times pi times the radius, which is 3 here, cubed. Now 3 cubed is 27. 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27. If I divide 27 by 3, I get 9. 9 times 4 is 36. 36 times pi is what I'm really looking at. That's going to be like 110-ish or something like that. 3.14 times 36. 113. We saw this before. 0.04 centimeters cubed. All right, still doing volume. I have myself a nice little barn here. So I'm going to do the rectangular prism base is going to be 10 times 20 times the length of 30. That's going to be 600 times 10, which is 6,000. Now for the wonderful tent we've got here. that's going to be a base, it's a half, the base of 20, times the height of 12, times the length of 30. So that's 10, that's 120, so that's 3, 6, with a 0 for the 120 plus another 0. So, is that a bad 0 right there? That's a horrible 0, sorry. So if I add 6,000 plus 3,600, I get 9,600 feet cubed. All right. Oh, what a task this is. I've got a cylinder with a cone and a hemisphere on top. So the hemisphere is 1/2, because it's half of a sphere, 4/3, times pi, times the radius, which is 6, cubed. Okay. 6 cubed is 6 times 6, which is 96, times 6, which is 216. Ugh, that makes 2/3. Let's see if I can figure this out. 216, I'm going to do 2/3. So I'm going to divide it by 3, then multiply it by 2. I get 144 pi's right there. The cylinder, which is just pi times the radius squared times the height, that's going to be 36 times 15, which is 540. And this cone right here is 1/3 pi times 6 squared times 15. And so that's 1/3 of 540. If you divide 54 by 3, you get 18. So that's 180 pi's right there. Add that all up. Wow, we got 4, 16, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's going to be 864 pi. So somewhere around, I don't know, closer to 3,000. 864 times 3.14 is going to be 2,712.96 meters cubed. If you wanted to just get the answers real quick, 144 times 3.14, it's 452.16 for the hemisphere. The cylinder is going to be 1,695.6, and the cone is going to be 565.2. Those are your 3 different volumes for each piece. There's your total answer right there. Let's flip this over and finish it with our 3 final problems. All right. A circle with a circumference of 37.68 feet is the top of a cylinder that is 20 feet in height. Okay, using 3.14 for pi, find the surface area of the cylinder. Okay, so I've got a cylinder. It's 20 feet high. I have the circumference. I don't have the diameter or the radius, so shoot. Let's see. So circumference is pi times the diameter. So if I divide this by pi, let's try that. 37.68. Let me divide that by 3.14. What do I get? Ooh, I get a diameter of 12. So I'm trying to find the surface area, which is 2 pi's are square and 2 pi's are hot. I have a diameter of 12, so my radius is 6. 2 pi 6 squared plus 2 pi 6 times 20. 36 times 2 is 72 pi. That's 12. 12 times 20 is 240 times pi. Add those together, we get 312 pi's. And if I do 312 times 3.14, I get a lovely 979 and 68, and that's going to be feet squared. Okay, a cylinder with a volume of 4,823.04 inches squared. Look at that bad type, but that should be cubed. Horrible, horrible. Has the same radius and height as a cone. What is the volume of a cone? Well, if you remember that a cone is 1/3 of a cylinder, I'm just going to do 1/3 of this. Okay, so let's just do that. 4,823.04. I'm going to divide that by 3, and I get 1,607.68 inches cubed. All right, the last one. You build a circular flower bed with a wooden border surrounded by grass. Okay, there's my flower bed with a lot of grass. The diameter of the circle is 3. What length of wooden border do you need? Well, that's going to be the diameter times pi, 3.14, and that's going to be 9.42 feet. So I need 9.42 feet to do this border. What is the area of the grass? Okay, well, the area of the entire rectangle is 15 times 8. That's 80 plus 40, so that's 120 there. And the area of the circle is going to be pi times radius square, but it's 1.5 is the radius. Okay, so that's, I actually know this, is 2.25. That's 1.5 times 1.5. And multiply that by 3.14. Let's do that. 2.25 times 3.14. I get 7.065. I'm going to subtract that. So I'm basically taking 8 away. So I get 112. And then take this away. I'm going to be left with 935. So 112.935 feet squared. And there you go, children. That is the answers to the Unit 5 study guide. Hopefully you got most of these right. Talk to you guys soon.